Ask yourself the damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
Fantasy Sports puts you in control of your own team. The Nick Bonsanto Show is proud to present the Star Fantasy League Show. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, co-hosted by SFL CEO Zach Stanley and SFL COO Seth Young. The Star Fantasy League Show, on the air.
Make this game your finest hour.
Now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on the Sports Byline USA Network. I am your host, Jonathan Sprung, joined, as always, by Star Fantasy League CEO, Mr. Zach Stanley.
I have good news for you, Jonald.
Ooh.
Actually, it's kind of hybrid good and bad news.
That can't be good. Let's go.
Seth has returned from Tallahassee.
That quickly? Is it possible to get a flight there and back that quickly?
I think so.
Oh. Well,
I think they're going around the storm.
Well, the bad news and all that is Seth's coming back, but the worst news is that our friend here and member of the SFL family, Nick Stablenko, is apparently not going to be on next time. How sad is that, Nick?
I'm pretty sad. But I have better news. I'm 4-0 against John in basketball, even though he thinks I'm terrible. It's great.
Seth is known to be a quitter, so who knows what could happen.
That is true. So next week we'll look forward to having Nick back on the show when Seth does
I'll be
something.
excited to be here yet again.
Seth gets tired.
Yeah, today's a little bit of an interesting show because NBA is going away for the All-Star weekend. We have no hockey because they're in Sochi land or Russia Putin land. I don't know.
Yes, they are. USA.
USA dominated today. It was
Big
win.
win.
Fantastic.
Don't worry, guys. We're going to get to all that.
I don't think there's anybody listening that wouldn't be happy about that.
Well, I don't know. Does this broadcast to other countries? Do other countries even exist?
Do we reach Sochi?
I sure hope not. We'll be in trouble if we reach Sochi. No, thank you. I don't want to be there. But we are breaking down today's 2-game slate of NBA before they, ship off the All-Star weekend and craziness. You ever been to an All-Star weekend?
I haven't. It's my bucket list. It's on there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's awesome.
It's
so
a crazy
many people
moment.
there.
There's nutty.
I need to see me a slam dunk competition.
But before we head to that, we are going to break down today's slate of 2 NBA games on StarFantasyLeagues.com, and you're listening to the Star Fantasy League Show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
Nick Bonsanto is proud to present the Star Fantasy League Show. Feel free to tweet the show at SFL Show. Let's do this. Time for your Star Fantasy League's NBA fantasy lineup breakdown. Yep.
Oh, man, I love that guy. I love him. Isn't he great?
Every time we
guy?
bring him out of that cage, he's got so much pep.
He does, man. For a guy that sleeps 23 hours a day, man, he really brings it.
He's very excitable.
Nick, since you did such a good job filling in for Seth, I'm thinking we might promote you to Cage Guy.
Nice. That's nice.
Oh,
Do I get 3 squares a day?
No.
Just 2?
2.
Some saltines?
It depends on your
I
performance.
don't think I can survive on saltines,
That's
John.
very, very true. If you guys are watching on the stream, he would probably die from 3 saltines a day. It's okay. I think we all would. Whatever. It is Thursday. I almost said it was Tuesday. It's definitely not. I hope it's not.
It's Thursday. We're almost near the weekend, and we've got some primetime games tonight, but unfortunately one of them happens to be Chicago versus Brooklyn.
That's a game. I believe the over-under in this game is 183.
Yeah,
Have you seen another game around
185.
that? That's just sad.
One of the worst we've seen this year.
So they're saying this game is going to be around like 91, 92. Really?
And if you think going into the year with the slate of teams that they were looking at and who they were going to play on TNT, that this would look reasonably attractive with Derrick Rose coming back and all the star power that the Nets paid for in past their prime. But
they should really call this team geriatrics. That would that describes the Brooklyn team, right? They're pretty old.
They're very old, but they've made a little bit of a comeback.
Yeah, but you know
they're
why?
They're in the playoffs right now.
Do you know why they've made a comeback? Because they've started
ease.
playing their younger talent. Like Livingston's playing a lot more. Darren Williams is getting played a little bit less. I actually think Livingston's been playing out of his mind for what he is.
Well, it's actually unfortunate with Livingston, with all his injuries that he had throughout the course of his career so far. He had a lot more potential going in. It's not as bad as the whole Brandon Roy thing, but it's pretty bad.
I was hoping you weren't going to bring that up.
R.I.P. Brandon Roy. We miss you.
I think he's still alive, Zach.
I know.
I'm not sure. I'm not really sure.
I loved watching Brandon Roy when he was.
This is true.
Healthy.
Guys, don't cry. All right, we're gonna pull us out of the rut and get to some happy thoughts. We are talking about NBA Daily Fantasy on StarFantasyLeagues.com. 2-game slate. What changes when there's a 2-game slate, guys? There has to be a lot of different strategy considering you can't pick from every single team.
I was going to say I had a pretty tough time tonight.
Yeah, today,
I kind of went with whatever I could fit in there.
Yeah, you got a $100,000 salary cap on StarFantasyLeagues.com. 2 guards, 2 forwards, 2 centers, 2 utility. That means any spot on the roster. Man, there weren't a lot of pickings tonight. There were a lot of players you're just like, ooh, I got to play him?
And this is like a damned if you do, damned if you don't night because the over-under is so low in the Brooklyn game and the spread is so high in the Lakers game.
This is very, very true. Yeah, there were a lot of things. I mean, I'm looking for the role players in the second game because the over-under is so high. If there is a blowout, you're going to see the guys playing that really shouldn't be. That's kind of why I went in the direction that you yelled at me for, but we'll see. Nick, since you are here and you actually do your homework unlike Seth and you seem to care about getting better, we're going to have you break down your team for the 2-game slate, and then we're going to critique it. But it's going to be really hard to critique tonight unless you do something very silly, like Seth it and put Brook Lopez in.
Oh, you're not supposed to play him?
Oh, my God.
No, I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. Yes. I didn't screw up that bad. Sorry, Seth.
If our YouTube people would look behind us, we've got a little bit of a hybrid Zach Randolph since Zach Randolph thought that
if you need a close-up.
Yeah, Zach
Randolph thought.
Seth thought that Zach Randolph played point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies. Right. Point guard.
That's awesome.
And so we put Zach Randolph's head on Mike Conley's body.
Yes, we did. And every time Seth says something stupid, guys, we're going to make sure he knows about it, and we're going to create a nice little picture of it.
And thank you to our designer, Jason, who made Mike Conley's neck meld so well with Zach Randolph's head.
He's pretty talented. All right, Nick, let's go on. We got to break this down. We got a finite amount of time. No, we don't. We have all the time.
All right. Well, so I found a way to fit him in, but I have Kevin Durant in. And how I did it, I may have sold my soul. I'm not really sure. But I got him in there. I don't know. That's pretty much a no-brainer.
You realize since we are at Star Fantasy Leagues, you sold your soul to us, right?
Well, I guess so.
We got his soul.
I get to wear whatever I want.
Yeah, all right. That's
fine.
Good.
That's why we can put him in the cage.
This is true. You're going in the cage, buddy.
I also fit Chris Kaman in. I mean, he blew up.
Fit him in. He's huge. You had to fit him in.
Probably the value play of the night, honestly, with what he can post. 33, 38, and 47 fantasy points in his last 3 games.
And what was the 3 before that? 0, 0, and 0 because they didn't play
I think he
him?
had like 10 the game before that.
That's just sad.
Then he didn't.
He's got he's nowhere in that rotation. He doesn't exist.
It doesn't make sense to me too because that bench is so depleted. They're absolutely decimated right now. You got to rotate guys in and out. Otherwise, you're just going to end up wearing everybody out, but I guess that's D'Antoni right there for you.
We joked about it like 4 days ago how they had a crazy glutton of just like so many guards, and now tonight they're down to 2. They only have 2 in the rotation.
Yeah, both Steve Blake and Kendall Marshall are going to get a lot of minutes tonight.
Yep, I have both of them in my lineup only because who else? Seriously, who else? It's not going to happen.
I have a bone to pick with Steve Blake.
Okay, go ahead, Nick. Continue your lineup so Zach and I can fight.
Don't ever do that again.
Seth just tweeted it at the show, and I don't know what he said yet. We're going to find out live later.
Well, I literally put the entire front court of the Lakers in because I just don't know who's going to do it.
Which part? Who's starting? Who's even happening today? Go ahead, let's see.
I have Sean Williams in again. He did pretty well for me the other night.
Great value tonight on Sean Williams. I mean, yeah, he was respectable the other night at 6,900. If you're looking to squeeze in some good players along with Durant, you probably got to have him in. That's my thought.
Yeah, I mean, he's right around the same value as Kaman. I mean, Kaman definitely is a little bit more. I mean, he's going to give you more points.
I feel like Kaman's the guy that has more upside tonight.
Yeah,
surprisingly,
I
can't believe we're ever saying that. Kaman
way
has
more upside.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, same thing though. I mean, you're finding value in areas that you don't normally think of on a night like tonight. So
if you're looking to post a really good score, you want to hit about 2.5 times the salary of everybody in your lineup under a $100,000 salary cap. So Kaman putting up 25.
I feel like that's his floor tonight.
Yeah.
Especially who's guarding him?
Kendrick Perkins,
yeah,
who is a decent defender, but he absolutely towers over him. And the thing with Kaman and the Lakers in the situation that he's in is he takes so many shots, and they really don't have that many players that can take shots. It's not like Kobe's out there.
This is true. Somebody's got to get those 48 shots a game Kobe takes.
And he loves to jack them up. Last night he started like 1 for 6 or something, and then just went off.
All right, Nick, continue your lineup. We haven't had problems yet. Well, sort of.
I was actually pretty disappointed to hear that Carlos Boozer was back because I had Taj Gibson in.
No, we have. I still have no problem with Taj Gibson.
I still have him in. I think he's going to get plenty of minutes tonight. I mean, he's doing really well, and he's playing way way above his value.
We've mentioned it several times. He is the crunch time guy. Tibbs just goes with him. So guess what? If you're playing those last couple minutes, those are where you can get some points.
Yeah, and if he's playing really well, which he has been, he still gets run towards the end of halves. Maybe Boozer comes in for the last 3 minutes of the half, and he gets run towards the end of the games, too. So depending on how he's playing, he gets a lot more minutes than you would think.
And there's really no reason to rush Boozer back into it, although Thibodeau did make a little faux pas with one of his star players a little while back, I think. But it is what it is. Anyways, so I also have Serge Ibaka in.
Ibaka.
Ibaka, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I have no issue with that. I was telling Zach earlier, I think he's actually the second highest value play of the day behind Kevin Durant.
He had a great first game against the Lakers this year. I wouldn't expect much different, especially with how depleted the Lakers are right now. I bet he blocks Kaman a few times tonight.
I bet he blocks somebody a couple times. I bet you he's dunking on people a bunch tonight. He could go for 40, 45 points tonight. Fantasy points, excuse me. 40, 45 is about where he's at.
He could put up over 5
Which
blocks.
at $15,000 is his salary, perfect. That's exactly what you want.
yeah. I also have Darren Williams in. I don't know. I mean, like I said, short slate. I don't know. That was a tough one. I really didn't know where else to go there.
I stayed so far away from one of my lineups. I actually have everybody except Taj Gibson from the second game of the night. I actually managed to do that.
Similar to Darren Williams in value tonight is Kendall Marshall, who I think is going to have a great game.
Yeah, he's actually announced to be starting.
He could get 40 plus tonight.
This is when he was starting and he was the guy, he was regularly putting up 30 to 35 fantasy points consistently.
Yeah,
which is
and I'll
amazing.
take that over Darren Williams, who, I'm sorry, Nick, who right now is getting
He's
like
just 25.
25 minutes and just putting up garbage.
Yeah, he's been putting up.
It's very disappointing in what you thought was such a big thing for the Nets to acquire him. I can't believe how much he's fallen off. A few years ago, they were talking him being the top guy.
Yeah, he's the
top point guard.
fourth guy on that team. Who else you got, Nick? To close out
Last
your
two
lineup?
I fit in, Wes Johnson and Jordan Hill.
Is Jordan Hill not playing still?
Yeah.
No, he's playing.
Is he?
I like Wes Johnson. I don't like
Wes
Jordan
Johnson.
Hill, but I think Wes Johnson at 9,300 is a must on a short slate. And if you're trying to get guys like Durant and Noah in, you got to put in Wes Johnson.
Man, a guy I really liked tonight was Jeremy Lamb under the radar. I think that if that game gets out of hand, Jeremy Lamb's going to get a run.
I have Jeremy Lamb as well. He could get huge minutes anyway if he starts hitting shots, but if it's a blowout, then he's definitely going to get his minutes and his points.
This is true. We're done talking about basketball until next Tuesday. How depressing is that guy? No, sorry, actual basketball. It's done. We're going to talk about the mid-season awards later in the show. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Nick Monsanto Show here on the Sports Byline USA Network. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
Yep.
Oh, what happened to Jonald's mailbag? We were so excited to start Jonald's mailbag.
Oh, sorry about that.
The voiceover guy forgot, and I'm so depressed. I'm going to sulk. Ready?
We got to put him back in. We got to throw him back in the
Okay,
cage.
fantasy
there
sports
we go.
fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to
Hey, sorry about that.
Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy Leagues team by tweeting at SFL Show.
Mailbag.
It's mailbag time.
Mailbag time.
Good. Now, I'm glad that we got that in there because that's the best part of the entire show. If you already heard that, you can turn off your radios.
I
That's as good as it
can't
gets.
even tell you what I felt in my heart when I heard Jonald's mailbag for the first time.
It's like it's one of those moments you'll always remember where you were when you heard it the first time. I was in this office.
I will never forget it.
It's a little strange.
I was sitting right in this chair.
All right, let's get right into it because we have some good ones today. Svensson Johansson writes, does the American men's hockey team have a shot to upend Team Canada in Sochi? If not, who has the best shot at winning Olympic gold?
They absolutely do. They absolutely 100% do.
You are so excited. You came into the office today. You're like, we have to talk hockey.
Yes, you have to. This
Here
is
you go.
probably, in my opinion, this could be the best USA hockey team we have ever seen. Ever. I mean, the players on the ice right now, there's such a great mix. There's four lines. There's young defensemen, great goaltending, amazing depth all around. And today was a great warm-up. They didn't come out and undervalue their opponent. They came out and they took it to them, and that was that.
I was very impressed with the game. I think they have a chance to beat anybody. But I do think that the game Saturday against Russia is really going to show what's going on with this team.
It's huge. It's huge.
So you're saying we're looking forward to Russia USA? That could really.
We'll have a
tell
much
us.
better read on it after that game.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Russia they're a high-powered offense. They have great guy up front. They have Malkin, Ovechkin, Valery Nishushkin. I mean, they are just loaded. So
is that the third team? Are you saying they're the
team
other than the U.S. that could get
they're
it?
the home team. I mean, whenever it's on your own soil, whenever it's on your own ice, you got to step up and you have to show something. So Russia is coming out to prove something, and they're still sour from 1980. They really are. It's no joke. I mean, you think that? I mean, it is kind of funny.
They never
34 years later,
forget.
They don't. I wouldn't either. I mean, that was the biggest upset in the history of hockey. So that is what it is. So.
They're sour and I am sweet.
Okay.
Go USA. That's all I have to say. It's a great team this year.
Bills.
That's a good. Oh my God, that's a good segue. Speaking of sweet, Father Mohagan writes, "Who is the biggest All-Star snub in the NBA this weekend?" I have to mention, as we were talking during the break, Seth tweeted at the guy from the Marty Chang videos. His name is Jason Berlin. He actually favorited and retweeted our tweet mentioning him. So shout out to Marty Chang, Jason Berlin. Thank you so much. We just do this as a joke.
That is an absolute honor.
That's pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. We don't even know if he's famous. We have no idea who he is.
I know you're super excited about it.
His videos are hilarious. If you haven't seen
They
them
are
yet,
very funny.
YouTube, Marty Chang, and watch anything. Literally watch
Did
anything.
we just do a return promo?
What?
And we just gave it back to him.
Oh,
kicked it back.
Yeah, we're repaying the favor.
Yeah,
kickback.
We have less
I like
video
it.
views
I
than
like
he
it.
does. But seriously, who's the biggest All-Star snub this weekend? I have a lot. So anybody got any that stick out?
Ilyasova of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, Minnesota's own.
I thought John Wall was a pretty big snub. Honestly,
He got in for an injury. He ended up being put on last.
There you go. Now you tell us then, because clearly I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
He was originally on my list. I had to cross him out because apparently he got added as an injury late thing.
I got to follow up on that. Reserve
good for him.
news.
Yeah, really. Reserve up to the second news. No, it doesn't matter either way. From the West, I have I have Dragic and Cousins because apparently Cousins didn't manage to get on as the best big man in the West. Like, you kidding?
That was a robbery.
Well, they ended up having to fill Kobe's spot, but they did it with Anthony Davis, who's also deserving. But if you think about it, DeMarcus has been more solid.
I agree. I think DeMarcus has had much more of an impact on this team, and I think right now, looking at it, he is a top 5 MVP candidate.
I completely agree.
Really?
Not being in the.
I mean, he's not going to
That's
get
bold.
MVP.
No,
but
well,
I think
but
if
that's
you
still
look at the top 5,
that's saying a lot from where he's been and where he's come from. I mean, the guy was just shoved off to the side for a long time.
He's really eliminated a lot of his chatter and a lot of that crap that went on the past couple of years. I'm very pleased with how he's grown up a little bit this year.
Good for him.
This is true. Honorable mention goes to Kyle Lowry. He's been killing it, especially since Rudy Gay left. He's been an absolute beast for the Raptors. I feel like Joe Johnson didn't deserve to get in there. That's the spot that could have
I
gone to Kyle
cannot
Lowry.
even believe that Joe Johnson made the All-Star.
Well, because that team was so bad.
It doesn't even matter. He
doesn't.
doesn't have the numbers for it.
No,
he doesn't have the minutes for it. He doesn't have anything.
Any merit to what Lance Stevenson said, though?
I don't know, but I have him on my list as a
Do you?
snub as well.
I mean, he's close to averaging a double-double, right?
He's got 4 triple-doubles this season. He's the best in that. He's really one of the most well-rounded players considering he plays top defense.
He has been so impressive.
I agree, and that is everybody I hit on my list. So that's actually, Goran Dragic is on there as well, but he's a very fringe. The West.
I'm not letting Dragic in.
The West is very, very tough this year. All right, moving on. Minka Kelly writes, with Derek Jeter's sudden retirement at the end of the season, who is my next boyfriend? I mean, which player is going to be the next Yankee captain? That's a weird question. Why is Minka Kelly asking about her next boyfriend?
It's a little strange.
Does she only date Yankee captains? Is that what she's saying?
I don't know. She can have Ellsbury if she wants. That was trash.
That's actually one I wanted to bring up. Is it possible to give somebody that used to be a Red Sox
you know what?
the captain? You can't do it.
He's got to bring this disappointment into our.
No, you know what? No, it's fine. It's fine.
Johnny
It's
Cage.
fine. It's
another-
absolutely
hold
fine.
on. It's just another center fielder from the Red Sox that goes to the Yankees.
You know what? That's fine because they're not going to win another World Series before the Red Sox. It's fine. It is what it is.
Oh man, I'm a Red Sox fan, but I'm not a bitter Red Sox.
I'm
You're
very
just, like,
bitter.
very
You know why
bitter.
though? You know why? Because Jacoby Ellsbury was my favorite player, and it really burned me when he did that. That's just a sin in baseball to me. It is.
We have
I don't think
tissues in
there's-
the corner if you're interested.
I may need to use one.
Okay.
I may need to use one.
But
I may
seriously,
use your Steelers, Bear.
on it. Oh, that's depressing. Don't do that. I just brought him in. That's
All
not
right,
nice.
fine.
No, but
I'll
seriously,
spare him.
Who could? I was thinking. I was like racking my brain. Who could honestly be the captain? Who's an up and coming guy that they actually see being the future of this team?
That's a tough one.
Because you're not going to give a captain to somebody who's going to be there a couple. Like you can't give it to CeCe. That would make no sense.
Yeah, this one is pretty difficult.
What about Tanaka? Because think about it. They're not going to have to give up the
They
captaincy.
can't make him an instant captain.
It's not going to be until next year because Jeter's leaving at the end of this
He's not going to have
season.
that kind of impact right out of
What if he
I
wins
don't-
a Cy Young in his first year with the team?
Well,
you wouldn't give it
He
to him?
still won't be captain.
I mean, you heard what Cashman said, right?
I don't
He's
care
a
what
potential third in that rotation.
Oh, get out
Potential.
of
They
here.
paid $150-something
Yeah,
million
I don't, well, I don't
for
even
a
know what that
potential
comment
third.
was about. I thought that was a little foolish.
Well, that's just to me.
Cashman.
That's the organization. Why? I don't know.
You spend almost just the Red Sox spend
It
almost
doesn't
just
matter
as
about the
much
money. It's not about the money.
How does it? Why
it's
is
about
it not
it's about
the
how
money?
they. It's about how they handle their players. You have to shave as soon as you walk in this building. You have to act a certain way. You have to be a totally different person.
All right,
I think it's
we're
ridiculous.
going way off the rails because we
Yeah,
don't
we
want
could
to.
all right,
we could
all
go
right.
on a tangent about
All
this.
right,
No
I
more
know I
Yankee
could.
talk.
I'll cut
We
it
hate
off.
them. We apparently have no answer. Moving on, David Copperfield writes, can someone please explain why Damian Lillard is in every event during All-Star Weekend? Shouldn't he just disappear? I can make that happen. That's a little weird. Is he talking about kidnapping him?
Is that the real David Copperfield?
Probably. Wow. Yeah, we're getting some pretty good questions.
He could definitely make that happen, I think.
I know, but seriously, why is he? I know he's defending his skills championship. That's fine. He's the 27th in NBA in percentage for 3-pointers. So why is he in the 3-point contest?
I think more players should be like this. He wouldn't be in the 3-point contest if more players got involved in these contests
Okay,
and more players were adamant about
hold on.
participating.
You don't
I
think
agree with
Clay?
that.
You don't think Klay Thompson or Wes Matthews wanted to be in this? They both have. They're like second and third in.
But hang on a
made
second.
threes.
Isn't Lillard up there in terms of how many threes he's actually made? Percentage is one thing.
Made,
You
yes,
can
but
throw.
he's-
Yeah, but
It just means he's
I-
tossing up a bunch of threes. Big deal.
yeah, I mean, you toss them up. If you make
Okay.
them, they go in.
Would
That
you rather
counts.
have a higher percentage or more made threes? Be honest.
Well, if my percentage was like 50 because I made 2 of 4.
No, that's not. They don't include you unless you're over a certain threshold. It's not like 4
Yes,
of 80.
yes. I'd rather make a higher
Okay, just
percentage.
checking.
Fine.
I think you should be in less. That's all I wanted to say. Is you should be in less events. This is
All
great.
right.
And he's
but
playing
it's
the
like,
big game.
but it's like nobody wants to see Jason Capono as an example.
He's not-
you know,
he's not alive
I
anymore.
know. Yeah,
He might not be. I don't know.
He's dead. But nobody wants to see a subpar player that nobody wants to see Chase Budinger. Although you love him, Jonald.
Oh, I mean, started
you have a
twice.
little man crush on Chase Budinger.
Hold on, I have to get to this last question. This is my favorite thing ever. Old Yeller writes, yes, that Old Yeller. It looks like Steve Nash is going to miss more time with an injury. Shouldn't the Lakers GM take him out in the backyard at this point? That might be the meanest question by
Wait, did he put Old Yeller? Yes, that Old Yeller when he submitted.
No. I said yes. That
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Old Yeller. Yes, that dog answered.
Yeah, the one you know.
from the heavens.
Oh, you gave away the punchline.
You told if you're taking him out back. What are you doing with him out back? You're not
Having-
throwing the ball with
having
him.
tea? I don't know. Well, you can't throw him the ball. He's got a back injury.
You're having tea with a dog. Is
Sure.
that what you're doing? You had tea parties when you were younger.
I
have a dog.
I feel like I need to ride in the car with Steve Nash until we get to his house and take him by the hand and walk him up the steps to bed. That's what I think.
Are you saying good night, John
yeah,
boy?
I think that's
he is
probably-
toast.
He is. It's sad to
It
see.
is sad. It's sad.
We're all laughing, but it's sad.
Well,
is.
we all know, all right, so Derek Jeter says it's going to be his last year. We all know he can still play.
He's going out on his terms.
We all know,
Steve Nash is
we all know he
not,
can
yeah.
still play, but Steve Nash, it's like, man, it was such a brutal year last year. You were already on your way out then. What are you doing?
In all honesty, though, I mean, how many times do you really see
Go
a
play in
player,
Europe, bro.
How many times do you really see a player ride off into the sunset the way it should happen?
John Elway.
How many times do you see that?
Derek Jeter.
Yeah, okay. You guys could name maybe 5 to 10. We just
Mariano
actually
Rivera.
picked that. So you have
No,
we're up to 3.
Mariano Rivera's last year was pretty
We're up
garbage,
to.
though.
I mean, seriously, what I'm saying is, look at Brett Favre. It happens. It
Darryl
happens.
Strawberry.
Yes, I mean it's a little overblown, but still, that kind of stuff happens. I mean, it's unfortunate.
Aaron
but
Hernandez.
I would rather see a player play a couple years too long than cut it too short, like Barry Sanders or Tiki Barber or somebody like that. I would rather see them play it out until they can't give it anymore than see what we're seeing with some of the players quitting early.
Steve Nash mentioned 2 years ago he wanted to start doing soccer because that's his passion. He's Canadian.
Good. I mean-
That's his
Yeah,
thing.
but he's put in over a year and a half of knowing that this was it. He has to know.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think we know, but does he know? That's the real question.
No.
I don't know honestly. We're gonna talk about anybody not named Steve Nash. Coming up after the break, we're gonna discuss the mid-season awards for fantasy. It's happening, and you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
Fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at starfantasyleagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League show with Jonathan, Zach, and Seth.
Yep.
All right, seriously. He's fired. He's fired.
He still doesn't know?
It's been 2 straight days that we've had.
I put up with it for long enough.
He has. Nick has put in his time by now.
Nick
that
is very upset.
He
Yeah,
needs his name mentioned.
When we first did the show, we had Matt Footer and Rory on the show, but they were only there for one time, so the voiceover guy was, noticeably confused. But Nick, you've clearly been sitting here. You work for the company. Why will he not get your name right?
I don't know. I mean, come on. I'm a nice guy, right? I put up with it for long enough. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
You deserve the
put
credit.
my foot down.
Please don't kill him.
I'm putting my size 13 down.
We have neighbors downstairs. Please don't slam
sorry.
the floor. You might break it. You're a big man.
I am a big man.
You scare me.
I've broken many things in my day.
Yeah, including
Zach
the door.
can attest
The
to
door
that.
to our studio was broken. Zach, would you like to tell us?
I will
how
not
that
own that.
No. And on
Lovely.
and on Monday, we will perform the Panda Exchange.
Oh, yeah, it's true. Seth is coming back on Monday. So if you guys missed him, tweet us at SFL Show if you actually missed Seth Young being on the show.
Or if you didn't.
Let us know how.
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, let us know how Nick is doing because we think he's
Advocate.
actually doing an amazing job. You're turning it around. You're beating my ass at basketball, so clearly you know what you're doing.
I'm glad that he actually said
You know what,
something.
maybe
Now
you-
I can take down the scoreboard.
Maybe you should.
It's official.
Maybe you should replace me permanently.
It's rare that
Yeah,
you
I'm not
get that
gonna
kind
ta-
of
I'm not gonna
Donald
take that.
acknowledgement.
You know what kind of Donald acknowledgement we're going to give right now? The NBA All-Star break is upon us, and we're going to give our mid-season fantasy awards. This is not like, oh, who's the MVP? Oh, yeah, that's
What a
boring.
treat.
This is a
This
treat.
is going to be a great segment.
We're going to have some fun categories. We're going to have some jokes, which I guess occasionally we joke around on the show.
Once in a while.
Here and there. Hither and thither.
Oh, okay. All right, we're going to start off with the most overvalued and overused player at this point of the season. Does anybody have anything? I had some problems here.
I've got a couple.
Ooh, okay.
And one of them is Monte Ellis.
Ooh.
Who had a nice little start to the season, and everybody was getting all pumped up about the fact that he had really developed his game. And although he wasn't scoring as many points because he wasn't jacking up as many shots, he was getting a lot more assists. And that happened for like the first month, 2 months of the season. And he's really fallen off, and his value hasn't fallen off that much. But people still think that his favorable matchups are going to work out. He had a good game last night.
Do you not remember how I say, Dallas, do not pick for them, do not pick against them, they're middle of the road in everything. I hate them. I hate Dallas.
Well, Monte used to be so fun to watch. I think it's unfortunate that he went to Dallas.
Yeah.
He used to, you never knew you were going to get, but some nights,
Exactly.
oh man, you would get over 50.
This is true. Now he's kind of like,
He
oh,
would
30
explode.
is my ceiling, basically.
It was great.
Do you have anybody for this?
I don't know if I had the right terminology as far as overvalued goes, but I had Gordon Hayward, and my reason behind that, right now he's like in the mid 14 area, close to 15, I think, on Star Fantasy Leagues. I just think that right now he's like hovering around a triple-double. He just doesn't put up the points. I don't think that he really does what you need him to do at that area. I see him in a lot of leagues, and I just think that it doesn't really work out that much.
I got another one for you.
I would like to give my 2 cents.
I got another one.
I think the entire Nets team is overvalued. Anytime you see one of their players, you go, well, he could be good, but then you see it, you're like, wait, why? Why did you play a net?
It's amazing how far all of their values have collectively dropped.
Yeah, plummeted. Darren Williams used to be good, done. Joe Johnson used to be good, done. Paul Pierce, not good in this system. Or he is, but
He's
only
okay.
once every 5
But,
days he's good.
So many of these guys are so old.
This
It doesn't
is true.
matter. Like, they're not going to get in the 30-minute range unless everybody on the team is out, like when Joe Johnson went off. For
And
those
they're
2
coached
games.
by a wood nymph.
I'm
He's
not
a
really
little
sure.
guy.
I'm not really sure if everybody really thought that they were supposed to go to this team and create a championship caliber squad. I don't see that.
They went there to retire.
That's what I
Yeah,
mean.
I'm not
though,
sure
but
Kevin Garnett thought he should go to this team and play 15 minutes.
shouldn't Paul Pierce have gone to a team where he could be, hey, he steps in, contributes a little bit, but most of the role players are already there.
This conversation's making me depressed. I'm sure you too, Zach.
It is. It's sad.
All right, we're moving on. The Who's He Award, which is aptly named for people that came out of nowhere this season for fantasy.
My man, Nick Kalathis.
So you can't say my man and we have no idea who you're talking
Nick,
about.
What?
Nick
Oh,
Kalathis.
right. It's in the name.
Nick Kalathis in the last 5 since filling in for Mike Conley, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 5.6 assists, 2.5 steals a game. Are you kidding?
So I take it you have him too, John.
yeah, he's my number
I
one.
have him as well.
Yeah, he's my number one.
Monster.
I also have Mirza Teletovic,
Mirza Teletovic, wow.
who basically came out of nowhere. I don't even know where this guy came from.
Russia.
And he,
Russia.
Okay, fine. All right, yes, once again, it's in the name. But he's been able to be a decent plug-and-play throughout the season, and I remember the first game I saw him come in.
Yeah, you're like, what?
I was like, and he's jacking up threes and hitting them. I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah, he's a big man. He's
so
a big guy.
And I literally said, who is this guy?
Hold on,
so there you go.
What about I have two other guys that obviously they're playing well because of injuries, but DJ Augustine and Damari Carroll. But another guy I just thought about, Pero Antic. Remember that guy? He came in for like 4 or 5 games because Al Horford went down. He was jacking up threes. He's like 6 feet, 280 pounds.
Yeah, but you knew he wasn't going to maintain.
Yeah, but he got injured.
But yes, I was like, who is he?
No, if he stayed healthy,
DJ Augustine, I was like, you could have gotten a better chance somewhere else.
Yeah, I can't believe Kirk Heinrich, he's losing minutes to him still. Like, seriously, Tibbs, your season's over.
I think the real issue with Augustine is that he doesn't play good defense.
Okay, that team is not good. What does it matter at this point? He's auditioning.
They're okay.
They're good defensively.
Yeah, but
their whole scheme.
That's all about
Thibodeau
defense.
was defensive coach.
I know, but where are they going this year? Honestly, are they ever going to make it out of the first round?
How are you supposed to do that with the East as stacked as it is at the top?
That's what I'm saying. There's no point in doing this. Just bottom out, get your top 10 lottery pick, and just be fine.
It's unfortunate if
It's
Derrick
stupid.
Rose hadn't
No
gone
more
out.
Rose.
Let's
no
move on.
more Dang on
Let's
the
move
Bulls.
on to another depressing category: fantasy least valuable player. Yes, they exist, but this is for fantasy, not guys you never play. This is a guy you thought was going to be good. Who you got?
This is a guy we've mentioned about 3 times tonight
Oh, no.
and criticized him heavily. I have Darren Williams.
Oh my God!
Who
Least valuable.
has just been an absolute menace to any lineup you put him in.
You know what? I think his value on Star Fantasy Leagues at the beginning of the season was like 18 or 19,000. He's at like 11 or 12.
People
now.
expected a lot of him with so many players to pass to. He's had injury problems. He hasn't produced.
Yeah, somebody sent me a question on last week's show asking, I didn't put it in, obviously, asking if, since he always comes on in the second half, if you expect a boom from him. Like, he's basically nothing.
He had a streak of games like a month ago that were like 3 in a row where he played decent.
He's not turning around. And that was it. I'm sorry, but he's just not turning around.
I also have Jeff Green, who has just been awful and disappointing and has let me down in so many fashions. One, because I'm a Celtics fan.
I think there's some personal tie in there.
So you're you're a bitter Celtics fan.
I can hear it in his
Nick
voice.
is a bitter Red Sox fan. Just let it go, man.
Well, 1, because I'm a Celtics fan, and 2, because I put him in my freaking lineups.
Well, and then he goes on for 50 fantasy points.
Right. And then the one night I don't, he goes for 50, and then he's back down to 15 the next night.
So is the game.
58, 12, 24. He's really bad. I had Anthony Bennett. Because he duped all of you the other day. He absolutely
he did.
duped everyone. Then I saw the next night, people put him in their lineups again. And I was like, that's the worst mistake you've ever made. And he put up like 2 points?
It
4?
was quite the number 1 pick for the Cavaliers.
Okay, we'll sum it up by saying Bill Simmons audibly went, oh, when they picked him. So that shows you how bad of a pick that was.
It was like a Darius Hayward Bay moment is what it was like.
Yeah. Except Al Davis wasn't there to screw it all up.
Right.
Okay, let's move on. No more Anthony Bennett talk ever again. The most confusing / frustrating fantasy team to pick players from.
I have Brooklyn. I don't know.
Wait, why are you? I just said it to you. Why are you picking Brooklyn players? Don't touch them.
Sorry, I mean you just said
Mirza,
it though.
plus
Darren
I'm not
Williams.
really confused or frustrated with the Nets because the only time that I took them was when they literally had everybody injured and Joe Johnson was going off.
And Mirza, man, I loved Mirza. I had
and Mirza plug and play. Sometimes there are these teams that drive you crazy because they have nobody that produces, but there's the 1 or 2 guys that can actually get something done. The Celtics.
Oh my God, the Celtics.
You just don't until Sullinger started going off, but now he's getting pretty up there in value.
He is really good, though.
But until that actually started happening, they were so frustrated. So it looks like the second half will be a little bit brighter with Rondo there and Sullinger playing at the level that he's playing at. But
yeah, I had Phoenix only because their big guys make no sense to me. They're just interchangeable. You never know who's going to go off based on matchup. You think it's going to be one guy, then he does nothing. They frustrate the crap out of me.
Can I go one more?
Sure, real quick.
Pistons.
Yeah, the Pistons.
The Pistons. Everybody on that team has had multiple good games this year. Well,
correct.
except the
2 spot.
Yeah, the 2 spot with Kentavious Pope and Singler and whatever the hell they're doing there.
Exactly. Whatever they're doing, we don't know. All right, let's move on. The Fantasy Radar team, the team you're looking to stack against. And stacking means taking basically the opposite team, taking all their roster.
Whoever they're playing.
Yes, correct.
I have Sacramento. I don't know about that.
Really? That was not on my radar.
Well, I mean, they're like at the
radar on the radar.
They're like at the bottom of the league as far as points against.
Oh, there's worse.
Okay, yes, there is, obviously. But they're at the bottom of the league in points against. I mean, every time they go out there, you're looking to put up points.
To be honest, they only defend one position well, and it's the center position for obvious reasons.
But just remember, folks, points do not mean stats.
That is correct.
true.
Points per game is not usually the best thing ever.
Okay, but at the same time, like every time they take the floor, if you're looking at a team that's putting up over 100, no matter who it is,
then they're a favorable team to play against
fine.
if you're looking for somebody to select.
They're top 5.
So other than playing DeMarcus Cousins, yes, okay. The rest of the team, though, I would put them in.
What do you got, Zach? There's obviously 2 on here.
I am guessing that we have the same 2,
Of course.
John.
You got
the
one,
Lakers
I got the
and the
other.
76ers.
Oh, you took both of them, you jerk.
Who, I mean, every time that these teams play, unless it's an absolute blowout, it has been a straight-up freebie.
That's the one reason that I don't know about the 76ers, though. They're literally getting blown out every game.
All right, I'd like to give you one stat. We talk about defense versus position. These 2 teams combine for the worst in every single position. Every single one.
Really?
And when they're not the worst, the other team is the second. So they're 30th and 29th in 3 different categories against each other.
Ouch.
That's insanity.
All right.
So they're the worst by far.
A dream scenario, honestly, with these 2 teams is when they're actually playing somebody crappy, or maybe even each other.
You're like, ooh. They did play each other. Remember, it was just like fantasy lunacy. You're just like, I need all of you.
It was like over under 216 or something.
All right, let's move on to actual good categories to talk about. The fantasy most improved. This is a player that started the season kind of in the middle or low and then just boomed.
Goran Dragic.
Yes.
I mean, the guy, he's getting up there towards the All-Star talks. I mean, no, he didn't make the All-Star team, but he was getting up there, and I don't think anybody thought he was going to be that close. He's running the Suns team right now.
Is it Dragic?
It's Dragic.
Or is it
Dragic?
Dragic?
It's Dragic. Okay, Dragic.
I love that. It's like a complete reversal.
I don't know.
Okay. I have like 5 people here, but I'll name one. Isaiah Thomas.
You love IT too, man.
in love with Isaiah.
I do. I love Isaiah Thomas. Well, honestly, the thing is, this was the guy the last couple of years that would just provide a massive spark off the bench, and they would leave him in for the rest of the game just because he was playing so well. And now he finally has his opportunity to run the ship. And I'm excited for him. He's done great. He's come out of the woodwork, even though I knew that he could come out of the woodwork.
I went super obvious with this one. I said Anthony Davis. I mean,
That's true.
Okay, last year, 13.5 points, 8.2 rebounds, 1.8 blocks a game. This year, 20.5, 10.1, 3 blocks a game. He is an absolute monster. He's going to win Most Improved Player of the Year. He was
Last year, he was much more inconsistent.
This year, he is a beast.
But as of late, he's been getting into foul trouble again, which we got used to last year.
That was a sad
7.5
night
points
last night.
or whatever it was. Okay, the last category we have to talk about is fantasy MVP. This is not the MVP of the league. This is your fantasy MVP.
Well, my fantasy MVP is the MVP of the league.
LeBron?
Kevin Durant.
Ah, okay. Just checking.
The only knock on that is just that his price tag is so high now. You have to literally find ways to get him in.
That's the worst part. You have to have a day where there's injuries to actually figure out how to get him in.
You have to figure out how to fit him in your lineups, whereas there are some players that nobody's on his level right now. The guy is out of his mind. But there's some guys that are up. We're talking, there's guys in like the 21,000 range. Okay, yeah, now we're talking like that's a little bit more valuable.
Yeah, my fantasy.
But that's the only knock on him. The guy is literally on fire.
Well, if we're talking about value, that's a different thing.
No. I'm saying because of that, my MVP is Kevin Love. Fantasy MVP, the guy every time goes out there.
What about Blake Griffin,
it.
who's been sitting around 18 or 19,000 all year?
Very soon will be $29 million on StarFantasyLeagues.com. And that will wrap it up. We're coming back and we're going to sulk because we have to lose Nick. It's going to be a really sad last segment, guys. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on the Sports Byline USA Network.
It just doesn't sound like him.
Well, yeah, because it sounds like he's got Tourette's when he does it.
He's just, you know what? He's usually just excited to be done with the show, I think is what it is.
The worst part is Seth,
and go home and lay down.
Seth got back tonight, and I asked him during the break if he's listening to the show. He goes, no, I'm in bed. Does he know that radios exist so you can listen to things anywhere?
I'm not surprised.
He's not a very smart man.
It's funny how he supports himself but can't support us and Nick.
Yeah,
I
Nick.
would be listening.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
When you're not on this show, you do
I
not
listen when
to
I'm
the
not
show.
on the show.
That's very sweet.
I do.
We don't believe you, but it's sweet.
Well, fine.
Yeah, we don't believe you whatsoever. Anybody got any predictions for this weekend's All-Star Weekend, All-Star Game? Anything cool you got going on?
I think that Terrence Ross will win the slam dunk competition.
Again? You think he's going to defend?
Yes.
I got Paul George.
I mean,
George
yeah,
is crazy.
obviously, I think there's a lot of attention on the big guys that are joining, but you can't, being a great shooter and a guy that can take it to the rack, that doesn't mean that you're a fantastic, innovative dunker. Okay?
That
What are the odds
Ross's
that Damian
boss
Lillard
wins
shocks
everything?
the world? What are the odds?
But here's the thing: is who
What if he
cares?
does?
Like, what if he wins? Okay, if he wins everything that wins All-Star Game MVP, yes, that's fine. But if he comes and plays 2 minutes because it's his first game,
I am
that'd be
more
weird.
excited to see Mike and Mike attempt to play basketball.
They're playing
in
in
the
the
celebrity game. Yes,
Coached
I think
by
it's going to be hilarious.
coached by Bill Simmons and Jalen Rose. That will be really funny because
gonna be
they'll
a
fight
good
the
time.
entire time. We got a bunch of value going on StarFantasyLeagues.com. Tweet us at SFL Show. $5 free credit in your account. No strings attached. We also got a $50 free roll on Tuesday and Thursday every single week for basketball.
I love those.
$10 free rolls every other day. $5 free for hockey. We got value coming out of the wazoo, Zach.
Out of the yin-yang.
Out of the pie something.
Out of the crust.
I have
Not sure what those
absolutely-
references truly mean, but
No.
I'll just go along with it.
Out of the fallopian tube.
Okay, that
Okay.
ended up just setting us right off the edge.
No
Zach.
good?
No.
No good?
No.
Just seriously, if you haven't done it yet, come play on StarFantasyLeagues.com. It's the best way to learn. It's the best way to start playing daily fantasy sports. And let's do it. If you didn't know Mirza Teletovic was an NBA player, you need our help a lot more than you think. Take it easy, guys.
Boo Russia!
Thanks for having me.
Sochi!